Welcome to Be Brilliant with Jing Lang, the podcast dedicated to those seeking to excel in every aspect of their lives. Through conversations with her guests, Jing will tease out personal stories, helpful tips, and proven strategies to help you elevate your life and reach your highest potential. Get ready to dive in and discover what it means to be truly brilliant. And now, here's your host, Jing Lang.
Bill Marella is the CEO of ACTEX Learning, where Bill works closely with a broad spectrum of the actuarial community, including professionals, educators, and students. Bill also oversees the operations of actuarial study manuals and the actuarial bookstore. Lastly, Bill is the author of The Actuarial Career, Getting Started, a career guide aimed to set expectations and provide guidance to those starting in the profession.
Hello, Bill. How are you doing today?
Good, Jing. Thank you for inviting me. I'm doing well.
Excellent. And tell us where you are.
I am in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, about an hour north of Boston.
Very nice. Can you give us a flyover journey of your career before and after ACTEX?
Sure, be happy to. Well, I've been in this game a long time. I started back with a company called Slide Rule Books that retailed actuarial science materials, and from that the gentleman that had started the actuarial bookstore had reached out to me, and he was looking to retire. So just a couple years into my career in this space, we had sort of merged with the actuarial bookstore, and that was back in 2001. So it's been a really long time. Since then, multiple things have happened, including getting a call one day from ACTEX. We had worked together, and they were exploring alternatives, and they said, "Would you be interested to, take over the company?" And I said, "Yeah, let's talk." So that was in 2015. I got the call in 2014, but that happened in 2015, and so I've been leading ACTEX as well as Actuarial Bookstore since.
That's amazing. I don't think there's a single actuarial student who's not heard of ACTEX. Like anybody who have taken a single exam would know the brand well.
Well, yeah, thank you. We try.
So ACTEX, ACTEX, does that stand for Actuarial Education?
It stands for Actuarial and Textbook. Combining those two, the very first, at least in North America, the very first study manual was created by ACTEX. And so from there, they also went into textbooks and things of that nature. So that's where that originated, and it's stayed kind of relevant ever since.
So you mentioned that you have now been in the CEO role for coming up 10 years. What is the biggest challenge you have had?
The biggest challenge, let's see. Well, SOA and CAS syllabi changes, those are always a challenge. They keep us running. But for the company, I think one of the first things I did was really transition the company from being more traditional publishing company into a full-fledged e-learning company. And that's an enormous undertaking, but we had this ridiculously great content, just a library of content that needed to be digitized and brought forth in different formats. So video and databases of questions and electronic flashcards and an online learning platform, all of these things. So that's not done overnight. It's done over many, many years, and that's been achieved, but it was a big undertaking, a big challenge.
Any huge surprises?
I don't think so. I feel like everything in business sort of takes longer than you anticipate, costs more money than you anticipate. So that wasn't really a surprise. I guess the groundswell of support from the academic community and the student community was just such a pleasant surprise. Everybody pitching in to assist us in this undertaking to the benefit of students and to professors, including during the pandemic. People raising their hand and saying, hey, let's help get these resources online for professors, like practically overnight, so that they can teach remotely. Things like that, where just being really well immersed in the academic community of actuarial science and data science was really surprising in a great way.
Speaking of professors, I understand you have an amazing program that's about to be rolled out. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. Yeah, we're really excited about that. It's part of we're a little different. We're a benefit corporation. A lot of people don't know what that is, but one of the things I've done as a CEO is convert us to be a benefit corporation, which is essentially using our revenues and profits and reinvesting them right back into the products themselves. So we are using that for a broader social and educational purpose rather than just like profit maximization. So that makes ACTEX quite unique. So there's a program called GAIN, which is a United Nations development program along with Milliman, and the two combined. And they've targeted about 20 countries, developing nations that are at the appropriate stage of development so that they could really benefit from a more robust insurance industry. And as part of that, they need more actuarial science education in their countries. So there's an SOACAS conference that I attended a year or so ago, and they were speaking about the GAIN program. And so I said, well, that's perfect for us. We're a benefit corporation. We offer CAS and IFOA materials, which is the UK international credential. And so we were uniquely positioned for that. And so we are leading the Actuarial Faculty Development Program, AFDP, which is essentially teaching math and statistics professors around the world how to teach actuarial science. Yeah, so it's really, really cool. So it's a year-long program. It started in July. We have, again, a host of volunteers helping us, really experienced professors and professionals, a lot of them from Milliman, who are running these 6 months worth of boot camps, and then also managing a community of practice for these professors and mentoring these professors. So it's really exciting. It's a 12-month program, 6 months of boot camp. Every week they're getting more and more training. I'm a volunteer. A number of our staff members are volunteers, and we're super excited about the participation and looking forward to doing this for hopefully many years.
How many people enrolled?
Yeah, a lot more than we anticipated. We thought, boy, it'd be great if we got 8 or 10, but we have I think about 20.
Wow.
So it's countries like Tunisia and Vietnam and some African countries and Colombia, so they're all over the world. And we've had the SOA, the CAS, and the IFOA all sponsor these professors, along with actually a university, which was really pretty cool. Again, coming together of the actuarial community, the academic community, to support this initiative that we're leading, and it's been really rewarding. So we're excited.
Is the training completely remote?
It is, yes, and across all these different time zones. So it's been an enormous undertaking on our part, and just the logistics alone are challenging, but we're quite good at curriculum development, and obviously we're providing all these resources to the professors so that they can learn the materials themselves and teach the materials also online as well. There's a lot of different challenges in these different countries for sort of teaching in person sometimes. So we need kind of a hybrid approach. So they're very well supported in both their own training and then teaching this same material to the students. And the goal of the program really is to, again, develop the industry and the actuarial knowledge base in the country for the country going forward, not to be, just outsourcing to the United States or whatever. It's actually to develop that skill set within their own countries.
You're giving them the golden finger so they can point and get gold as opposed to getting it elsewhere.
Yes, exactly.
Self-manufacture.
Right. So that it's self-sustaining for the benefit of their own country. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So in addition to the actuarial content, right, that you provide for SOA, CAS, FOA, as well as through the academic programs, are there any adjacent field you have considered?
Well, not really. This is enough. It's a lot for us. Obviously, we're really strong in predictive analytics and in data science. So there are some people coming to us for training in this area. Same with ALM, just because they know we have that skill set that not necessarily tied just to actuarial science and is broader. So we have been involved in some, I would say, ad hoc types of training programs, but it's not a real strategic initiative of ours to prepare people for different industry or careers.
So you have the expertise to provide some content on predictive analytics, asset liability management, that I can imagine some data science work, but you don't currently have plans to offer any material concretely. Is that fair?
Well, yeah, not for people pursuing this outside of the general insurance, benefit consulting, actuarial science world. Um,
Got it.
the application related to what we teach is fairly specific, and we assume that other companies are maybe using data science and attaching it more towards healthcare or something along those lines.
Tell us more about the career guide book you wrote, as well as the other books that you have collaborated with other people on.
Yes. Well, I wrote a career guidebook. It's called The Actuarial Career Getting Started, and that's very much what it's focused on. We offer it for free as an ebook to anyone who just comes to our website. And the whole point there is to try to help students navigate the early stages of thinking about a career as an actuary, the sort of internship process, their very first job. And there's a lot that I guess you don't know what you don't know, right? That's an expression, right? And I think this book explains a lot to students that sort of surprises them. They realize, I never thought of that. And that's a good point. I should think about this when I'm pursuing my internship or if I'm developing my resume. And so we spend a lot of time on what's called building your brand. That's probably the majority of the book, but there's a lot of time also spent on just interview skills and also working toward helping them understand sort of the hiring process as well. We have a number of free ebooks on our website to help students. And the other one that's super popular is called Actuarial Exam Tactics. It's written by Roy Jew and Mike Jennings. Roy is the youngest FSA ever at age 21.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy. It's a while ago now. He's moved on in his career a bit and is doing exceptionally well, as is Mike. Two very sharp guys who also wanted to give back and also buy into the benefit corporation aspects of this. So they worked with me this book, used to be available for sale, but now we're offering it for free. And I thank them both for that. The idea here is to study much more efficiently, and they have a lot of really helpful tips, I guess I'll call them. But it's just strategies. It's really more strategies for more effective studying techniques, so that you actually can reduce the number of hours, but retain more and be better prepared for the exam. It's a relatively short book, and so it's worth everyone's time to read. That's why we're offering it for free. And then we have some other ones on leadership by Dave Miller, another fellow. There's a lot of great resources that we're trying to get out to as many people as possible.
And people can just download it for free on the Actuarial Bookstore website?
This one for free is on ACTEX Learning.com. And then you go to textbooks or books or something, and then you'll see career and exam guides or something like that. It's pretty easy to find. Yeah.
I will include a link for our audience in the show notes.
Perfect.
Thank you for that. So we talked about earlier that a lot of actuarial students were branching off to data science, predictive analytics. What's your view of the actuarial profession?
Yes, I think it's caused some nervousness, but in both speaking with SOA and CAS and just my own thoughts about this, these new technologies have always come into the profession, and it started with a slide rule and then a calculator and then computers and all of these things. And so I think it's going to be augmented intelligence for actuaries. Will some types of responsibilities go away? Sure, of course. That's just the nature of work, right? That you try to automate anything that you can, and then that frees you up for higher value thinking and analysis, right? So the actuary is now going to have this even more powerful tool for which to do even more powerful analyses, with more variables. And yeah, it should be a real boon, I think, to the profession. And that's the way I view it. On the education side, I think that it will probably also present some challenges, but we are looking to leverage it and make for the best student experience that we can and the best experience for professors teaching in the classroom.
Very good. And I think I already know the answer you will have to the next question, but I will ask anyway. Do you think artificial intelligence is friend or foe to your business?
Yeah, I think it could be both, especially if we were a static company, I guess, but we're not. We're a really dynamic company. The expression is if you're not moving ahead, you're falling behind. And so we're always looking to move ahead. And there's certainly ways that we can leverage it and reduce, expenditure. And then as a benefit corporation, what are we going to do? If we have savings, we're going to reallocate them back into better products. So for us, I see that we'll have some opportunity to do that.
So do you plan to develop some content using artificial intelligence?
Not at this time, and I've talked to others who are generally in this space and they agree there's no room for error. I mean, I know on occasion we do have some, an error or some errata in a study manual or something, but, students and professors, they do not want a second-rate product. And so we are not going to be using it for content. It is a large language model, right? It's not doing the actual calculations. So it has a significant shortcoming there. Doesn't mean that it can't be used in some ways in our business, but not for content creation anytime soon. So will we be on the lookout for that? Sure, but not at this time.
So you're 57. You're 57. Is retirement on the horizon?
Retirement is not really on the horizon. I really enjoy what I do. It's a pleasure coming into work every day. We have an amazing staff. They're super dedicated. Outside of this staff, the network of professors and subject matter experts that we work with are so passionate and pleasant, and it just is nice to come in and work with these people. So no, I'm not looking to retire. As a benefit corporation, we have a number of stakeholders. Students, obviously, professors. The societies are stakeholders. We try to do some projects with the societies. Vendors are a stakeholder, and most of them, or just as importantly, our employees. And so we're, regularly meeting to make sure that our employees are satisfied, that they have growth, that there's opportunity here. So yes, we are talking about trying to incentivize and retain employees through, shared ownership or profit sharing at the company. Again, those types of things are sort of core for our values as a company.
What quality do you value the most when you make a hire?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm not a micromanager. I definitely am somebody who looks to hire people that are very self-motivated, who are probably, they're so dedicated to their work, sort of, or so that any oversight that I might be doing, not that I'm not guiding and working collaboratively with them, but that they care so much about the quality of their work product that if I'm like hovering over them, it would be a negative, right? So I like to sort of set people up. I view my job as essentially supporting the staff. What do you need to be successful? And I'll try to make sure that we have it here for you. So I look to hire somebody who's like, hey, I'm going to take ownership here and just, help me be successful. And with that, if that person has that mindset, then they tend to be here a long time and are very successful. So it's not super well defined, but people, I guess, that take ownership and obviously are very team oriented because we work with so many people inside and outside of the company.
That makes a lot of sense. How big is your team right now?
Well, we have, I never really count. I think there's something like 16 or so of us, 17, maybe a couple part-time people. We then have a network of, many, many dozens of subject matter experts around the world. So ACTEX has always been that model. We've always brought in the best minds that and the most passionate people, regardless of, or for every topic that we can. So we're small but mighty because of our network of really, really talented.
It's amazing. I want to switch gear to something lighter. Can you tell us a fun fact about you that most people don't know?
A Fun fact about me, I play in an old man soccer league and I really enjoy that.
Oh, Old Man Soccer League?
Well, yeah, we call it
Tell
old
us
man
more
soccer
about
league.
that name.
Well, I have been for, I don't know, close to 20 years now, playing in an adult soccer league. When I started, I was in my 30s, so now, so we refer to as we're basically the oldest or second oldest team. I've been playing largely with the same guys for all this time. It's a great group of people. We have a lot of fun. We make fun of each other a lot. And I'm a little bit on IR right now. I have a little bit of a knee injury, but I'm looking to start back in another week or so. So that's kind of unusual for my age, I guess, to still be running around a soccer field. So
Awesome. I think it's fantastic. How often do you guys typically meet?
we play year round, indoors and out, once a week. We play a half field. So, half field, and it's a 50-minute game. So, two 25-minute halves. So it's enough.
Is winning very important to you?
No, it is not, but we never lose. So it's okay.
That is hilarious. I
If
don't have
we,
that problem, Jing.
if we didn't win on the scoreboard, somehow we've come up with a victory of something that we'll talk about. Kind of like the golfer that shot a terrible round, but then had that one shot that was really good. We hold on to that one goal or something funny that happened that we can laugh about after the game. And we'll call it a victory, even if we might have, I won't say the word, but the scoreboard might reflect something different.
That's amazing. I love the fact that you have had this relationship with this team of people you've been playing weekly on for 20 years. There was a Harvard study a while ago where they traced, it was the longest study historically, where they traced two groups of young men over like 100-year period. Well, them and their kids and grandkids, etc., to see how they turned out essentially. They started this study in, I want to say, 1908-ish, like before the First World, way before the First World War. I'll include a link in the show notes. Basically, the director of the study have changed 5 times, right? By the time the person did a TED Talk was sharing the results. And he said the single most important factor of having a good life is having a community of people. And what you just described, that you have a community of people that you can spend time with. You probably know each other really well, their family, each other's families. I think that's really amazing. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. I will comment that we all recognize what you said about that we do have this unique group of this fun social gathering, really is what it is. And we do cherish it. There's pressure not to leave the team, so to speak. David Brooks, the New York Times columnist, also writes quite a bit about community and really the loss of it here in the United States. It's not for a myriad of reasons. And I'm a fan of his books. It's something, it is really important to individuals. And I know for men, especially adult men, they will more often lose that than adult women from what I've read too. And so it's just part of what can bring, a lot of happiness, I guess, to individuals. So collectively, we bring happiness to one another, I guess.
That's amazing. I want to share a bit personal story. So I came to Canada when I was 17 years old. So the majority of my life now has been outside of China, where I grew up. So my dad has stayed in China during this entire time we're outside, and he picked up tennis. So he was doing amateur tennis, and he joined a club. So he has now been in this team for 10 years, and they play singles, doubles, they travel to different tournaments. And every time we ask me and my mom, I'm an only child, we ask him when is he gonna come to Canada. He's like, I don't know anybody there beside the two of you. And that's true, right? I feel sad about that because of the choice that has been made in the past. Now he has this close-knit community in Beijing with him. And by coming to Canada to visit us or to stay with us longer term, he's going to lose that. And at his age, he's 64 right now. I worry that that is such an important component of his life, and we just can't replicate that here in Canada. In Japan, they recently appointed a minister of loneliness to address the loneliness pandemic that is not just in the US, in many, many countries, right? Where people, as we grow, we move, we lose touch with people that we have known for a long time. We just end up being just a very, very small nuclear circle. And sometimes we don't have anybody beside us. And I find that, well, sad is how I feel, but I want to do something productive about it, and I don't know how. But listening to your story, your friends, that give me a sense of hope that it still happens, and it's awesome.
Well, I think the right opportunity to do something about it, will present itself to you. I mean, this already is a step in the right direction. The volunteer work that you do with the Society of Actuaries is another step in the right direction. But then there might be something else that really, accelerates it in a way that you find especially gratifying. So I hope you do.
Thanks. I want to turn this back to you.
Okay.
Bill, what does success and fulfillment mean to you?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of ways to define success. I mean, I guess at my age now, I mean, I really feel like success is, finding joy in most days, enjoying what you do, enjoying the people that you're around, enjoying family. I mean, these are things that are, I guess, how I would define success for myself. I do find that fulfilling. The benefit corporation work on the company side, I think we all share here as really fulfilling work. And, the AFDP program teaching, math and statistics professors around the world how to teach actuarial science. Like, we're really, really pleased to be doing that with Milliman and the United Nations. So, from a company standpoint, that and trying to offer more free materials to students or low cost materials globally is really fulfilling.
If there's one thing you would love to do, like on your bucket list, this is not something that you know how to do yet, but something you would love to do, like a fantasy level, what would that be, Bill?
Personally or professionally?
Both.
Boy, both. Let's see. Professionally, we like to just continue year after year to be offering more affordability to increase access globally. That's what we're here to do. And it takes time because we still need revenues to then reinvest. I think that we're on the right path. So it's a difficult task to accomplish. On a personal side, more of a fantasy type of thing, something I'd really, really like to do. I have traveled a fair bit, so there isn't a huge amount there that I haven't done, except for maybe an extended trip to Japan. I would really like to do that. My wife and I talked about
extended,
like 3 to 4 weeks to Japan. It's not an easy, there's so much to see there, right? And then, with all the islands and everything. My wife and I talked about it. We talked about maybe doing it before the pandemic hit and completely, blew up any thoughts of planning it any, more than just some general, dinner time discussion, and not really returned to that. So it seems far away, but the country to me is just really diverse and intriguing and beautiful and all of these things. So that's kind of a bucket list, at least travel item that it doesn't seem like it's on the horizon. We're still not actually talking about it, but it'd be something I'd be excited to do.
How about November 2026?
I don't think I know what is November 2026 in Japan.
I'm being very specific because that is, I believe, the next International Congress of Actuaries is going to happen in Tokyo in November 2026. I will fact check myself after this, but that is something that's relevant for you,
Yep.
Bill, as the CEO, and it's Tokyo, and the weather is great in November also. So here, that's a target for you.
Put the link into the chat, and I'll click on it and put it in my calendar. You might have really accelerated that, so I appreciate that, Jing.
Of course, just one thing I learned about goal setting is to be as specific as possible. So when you go, let's take a selfie when we're in Tokyo together a couple of years from now.
Perfect. Yes, SMART goals, they're very important. We do talk about them here. Always easier to think about those things than implement them. But this is definitely, if you said it, then it might happen. So that sounds good.
For the audience, can you define what SMART means?
Oh boy, let's see. Specific, measurable, achievable. What's the R? I'm trying to think. Realistic, and the T is
Time bound.
time bound. Thank you.
This is a perfect place for us to end. Thank you so much, Bill, for your time today. I loved our conversation.
It's been my distinct pleasure. I really appreciate you inviting me, and look forward to seeing you in Tokyo in 2026.
Awesome. It's a date.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Be Brilliant with Jing Lang. We hope you found valuable insights and motivation to fuel your journey. Be sure to like and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. And share this with 3 people in your life endeavoring to achieve personal greatness. Remember, brilliance is within you, and every step you take brings you closer to your best self. Keep striving, keep shining, and until next time, stay brilliant.